This is Get Informed with Wajeeh. I'm Wajeeh Lion. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we are on a Sunday morning talking about the latest updates regarding this war, answering your questions regarding the Middle East, and helping you understand culture differences. Yesterday, I talked about the history of Islamic expansion a little bit at the end. And we talked about how in Islam you kind of give, with Islamic expansions, or I'd like to call it Islamic imperialism, uh, when Islam was expanding, they usually, when they went to a nation, they gave them three options. The first option was to convert to Islam. The second option was to pay taxes for protection. And the third option was to go to war. And basically, that's almost like the same thing that's happening today, if you think about it. Most countries still do this. You either do trade with us or we go to war with you. You either give us your oil or we go to war with you. You either become a part of the democratic nations or we go to war with you. Uh, it's hasn't changed much, has it? Think about it. Even in our modern war, even though this is Islamic rules that they used to apply, we don't see that being used, right? But we see that being used by Western countries one way or another. Doesn't have to be convert to Christianity, but the the work is there. So I saw, coincidentally, the same day I was, scrolling down social media, and there's this Saudi historian. He's, fabulous storyteller, especially when it comes to Arabian history and ancient Arabia. Um, and his Saudi accent is thick, so you really needed to had like the full script. So I figured out a way to get the full Arabic script and translated it, matched it with the, and it figured out Arabic is you can say a lot more in Arabic with way less few words. So the original Arabic video is 4 minutes. After the dubbing, the video that I have published was about 5 minutes. But it's amazing 5 minutes. I might play it for you guys since it is dubbed, and since the dubbing is my work. I feel confident that I shouldn't be getting any copyright strikes on my YouTube. And if I did, I'll just take it out. For those that haven't watched it, I'm gonna play the video for you guys just to watch it a little bit.
The Ghassanids were the kings of the Levant in times past. The Ghassanids were the kings of the Levant in times past, during the pre-Islamic era, and the Lakhmids, al-Manadira, were the kings of Iraq. During the era of al-Mundir bin Ma al-Sama and al-Harith al-Ghassani, al-Harith al-Ghassani was the king of the Ghassanids, and Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama was the king of the Lakhmids. Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama noticed that his army had become stronger than the army of Al-Harith al-Ghassani. He marched his armies from Iraq towards the Levant to camp at a spring called Ain Ubag. Then he sent a message to Al-Harith al-Ghassani, saying to him, "We are coming for you, so either pay a ransom to be safe, or we go to war so we may take the spoils." The message was clear, just a single line. Either you give us a ransom to be safe, or war so we may take the spoils. There is a proverb that says, "May God greet the inevitable hour." The message reached Al-Harith al-Ghassani. He turned to his men. They said to him, "Rejoice, give the order and we will follow. Give the signal and we will set out in the blink of an eye." The men marched to the battlefield. When the armies met on a day called the Day of Ain Ubag, named after the place where they met, Al-Harith al-Ghassani stepped forward and called out, "O Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama." He replied, "Yes." He said, "I have a proposal for you." He replied, "Speak." He said, "By God, there is no need for the Arabs with you, nor for those with me to fight in this battle. It is just you and me in front of all these witnesses, and my sons against your sons. Whoever wins among us is the victor, and let these armies be." Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama said, "Do you think I would cower from this? I am up for it." He said, "All right, let one of your sons step forward, and I will bring out one of my sons." He replied, "Agreed." Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama was cunning, and he resorted to trickery and deception. He brought out one of his army commanders, a very strong leader, and said to him, "Pretend to be one of my sons, and step in front of the men as if you are my youngest son." He said, "Agreed." This commander stepped forward, and the son of Al-Harith al-Ghassani stepped forward. When he reached the man, he realized he wasn't the son of Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama. So he returned to his father and said, "Father, this is not the son of Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama." His father said, "Woe to you, have you cowered?" He replied, "I haven't cowered, but the man is not him." His father said, "Kill him." The boy went back to him, and they fought, but the son of Al-Harith al-Ghassani was killed in that moment. Then his brother charged out, wanting to avenge him. When he reached him, he also found out that this was an army commander, not the son of Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama. He returned to his father and said, "Father, the man is not the son of Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama. The man is making a fool of us." His father said, "Have you cowered?" He replied, "I haven't cowered, but the man is not him." His father said, "Kill him." He went to him, met the same fate as his brother. He died. There was a man in the army of Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama named Shamir bin Amr al-Hanafi. He was a man who deeply valued customs, traditions, values, and principles. He went to Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama and said, "O king, what you are doing is not the behavior of kings. You gave the men your word. O honorable one, do not go back on it. Retract what you are doing, and let one of your actual sons fight, just as the men are sending you their sons." He replied, "It is a stratagem, and war is deception." Shamir said, "This has nothing to do with deception." Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama became angry with him and banished him. So Shamir bin Amr left and went over to the army of the Ghassanids. He approached them and asked, "Where is your commander, Al-Harith al-Ghassani?" They said, "Here he is." He said, "Curse the devil. The man is deceiving you. He is pitting you and your sons against one of his army commanders, while he and his sons are just watching. Wake up for your life, O honorable one, and pay attention." So he withdrew his sons, and the sun set on that day. The Ghassanid army became utterly furious over this deception and the lack of honesty and frankness in what had transpired. When morning came, the men could no longer hold back. Sparks were practically flying from their eyes in rage over what had happened the day before. Then the entire army launched a full attack on the Lakhmid army. And on that day, a historic epic battle took place that generation after generation bears witness to. They fought fiercely. Then the Ghassanids emerged victorious, and Al-Mundhir bin Ma al-Sama died.
Like what I said, because the dubbing is in English and because in Arabic you can say a lot more than um and a lot less words. The video looks like it was cut off at the end, but it's not cut off. It's just the in Arabic he was done talking at that point, but in English the dubbing wasn't over. Why is this important and why are you showing us this? Essentially, the story is telling you a piece of history before Islam was formed. And when I talked yesterday, I'm seeing a lot of people coming in. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share, and invite your friends to join us. Uh, we'll do the business stuff later. So, what we learned from the story is that when Muslims used to invade any country, what I said was they would give these three options: become a Muslim, pay us tax, or go to war. This is showing us a time period before Islam, where time, even before and after Islam, was also still hard. We're talking about 1,400 years ago just for Islam, maybe 2,000, 3,000 years ago for this, maybe 2,000 years for this one instead of 1,400, the story that he's talking about. Excuse me. So in the story, there's two kings. One of those two kings looked at his military and decided that it has become stronger than his neighboring country. He decided to collect his soldiers and go to neighboring country. And like every gangster we meet, the choices are simple, but they're not fair. Pay up protection, and we'll leave you alone, just like a ransom. Or we go to war and we take the spoils. Story is not complicated and the demand is not hard. As a king, he looked around and his military said, "We're with you." They said, "Let's go." But the whole point that I was trying to make is that the demand was about spoils. Muslims believe that these spoils include everything, including humans. If you're a soldier and you go to war and that country loses, the men and women of that country could become enslaved if the people that went to war annexed it. That's how serious it was, including the women and the children. That's a personal thing. You go to anyone, you go to war with them, the first thing you want to protect is the women and children. So when back in the day you go for spoils, you're either going for an expansion or it's a very hard economic time and you barely can find anything to feed your people. So it depends on the situation. I'm not sure what the situation here was, but war was prevalent back there between tribes, between nations, mostly for spoils, mostly for winning, honor, And most of these wars were run by men, as usual. Like what we see today. We don't see much change in history, have we? We have not seen much change even in the best, one of the best, if not the best countries in the world, the United States. If we want to be the best, we need to admit that we have a lot of failures. But if we want to just call ourselves best and not admit our failures, then we become like this five-star kitchen that started cutting corners because they thought they're the best and they no longer need to compete with the rest of the world. So people stop going to it. People start getting inspired by it. People don't go buy the food anymore because it's not the same quality that they were promised. Isn't that right? You know, shit is really fucked up when the police themselves have to go through the police union and issue a card to their friends and family. I forgot what that card is called, but it's called Friends and Family. Police Friends and Family card. I forgot what it's called. Why do they issue this Police Friends and Family card? So when you get pulled over, nothing, serious crime, but when you get pulled over, they know how shitty their own police is toward the US citizens. And they fear that their friends and family might be targeted by other police officers that work in the police department. And they fear for them so much that they go through the police union to make a friends and family card. So when you get pulled over, you show that card to this police officer so you don't get mistreated. Or if you're someone like myself, you don't get taken away. Yeah. We live in the greatest country in the world, yet our police is trained by the Israeli military and who is trained to treat civilians like enemies. And then we wonder why is the police homicide rate against civilians is so high. Because they're treating us like we're Palestinians, like they're treating us like we are uprising against the government. They're treating us like we're supposed to be killing the police. We don't want to kill the police. We don't want to hurt the police. It's a two-way street, though. We need reforms for our security system. The fact that the police themselves cannot trust their family and friends with other police officers tells you everything. I was thinking the other day, maybe I should talk to my friends in the police department to send me a card. Why not? Why not? Good morning, everyone. Good morning. um, Musk and their tech bros seems to believe that they can get richer by disrupting the global economy. Could it be that they use the China trip to pressure Trump to further escalate the war? I think Trump would have escalated the war regardless of him meeting with the tech bros. And the tech bros would have made money regardless of Trump escalating. Because the whole point of this is that now, like, we need to know who is going to be making most money. The people who are selling AI system for the US military, the people who are making and producing military products like weapons, helicopters, airplanes, uh, missiles. All of these companies are going to be making bank at the moment. The AI the companies that went with Trump to China, they are all countries. They're all companies that would have made deals with the Chinese government or tried to make deals with the Chinese government. But it was just a show, in my own opinion. Because if there was any actual deals made, they would have been announced, like it was announced in Saudi Arabia. So what I get from that is that maybe Trump had he was trying to get some economic deals by bringing the tech bros and ended up not getting any economic deal other than promising to have like regarding US China trade, there's three big B's: beef, beans, beef, and Boeing, I believe. Beans, beef, and Boeing. The three B's are the most important. The soybeans, the meat that we sell to China, and then the planes that we sell to China. We were supposed to sell to China about what 300, 400 planes. Trump has promised to sell 200 planes. That's like there's 100, 200 planes missing. And he made it sound like it was a great achievement that we are selling 200 planes instead of the 300, 400 planes. And that was announced before. It was just paused because of the Trump tariff wars, and it was paused because of the US Iran war and many other things. It was put on pause. But now, that same thing that was put on pause is put back on the table, and somehow Trump made a deal on it or made it sound like he's selling two additional 100 planes. No, he's not selling two additional 100 planes. This is two original 100 plane. It's not even the 300 original planes. It's 100 less. What happened to the military personnel on the bases struck in the early days of the Iranian war? The soldiers were many of the U.S. personnel were evacuated from Middle Eastern bases from the Arab Gulf states, especially during the active war. Um, Many of the soldiers got hit or relocated. The soldiers that didn't get injured, they got put somewhere else where they think it would be more secure. Whereas that is classified, I have no idea. Good morning, Wajeeh. How do you prioritize the most important events? So much is happening that strikes on the power plant is really scary. Um, try to focus on what I specialize on in terms of specialty to get informed and updated so I can update you on that. And then I try to at least know the basics of everything else that's happening. So basically, Middle East stuff, I try to get in a little deeper, but other stuff, I try to read the headlines unless I see something is directly related to the topic I'm talking about. But part of being a specialist is, focusing and dialing in and on certain topics. Uh, but when you do that, then you stay away from other topics, or you don't just like at least skim through and try to have a general idea of what's going on. I don't necessarily try to study the details of what's happening in other countries other than the Middle East, but I at least try to skim through. So I could have, oh, there is a protest here. Oh, yeah, there is a shortage of this. Oh, yeah, there's, just the basic stuff. And then when I get into a conversation with an expert that can follow along, that's how I feel I've been doing it. Um, Local events, I haven't been able to go to much local events, honestly. It's hard to go to local events while you're recovering from a surgery. What purpose does Putin go to China? To catch up the latest tea about what happened between Xi and Trump. Like Xi and Putin are like good friends. So you could just imagine, like, come on, girl, tell me what's the latest update. What? Did you say what? He did what? That's what would be happening. Uh, yeah, exactly like that. It's gonna be just like that. Spill the tea, honey. Uh, Recovery should be about 2 months. She doesn't look like he has a care in the world. Trust me, he has a lot of care in the world. Just not what we care about. Trump will be so pissed off he wasn't invited to the Xi Putin hangout. He's going to be sitting in the corner. Not fair. I wasn't invited. Not fair. That's going to be Trump. The Boomer Bible. Yeah, he's jealous. Julia and I may see the same scenario unfolding. Like what? Like about the uber rich, y'all. Like billionaires are gonna keep making money. Like those are the only people who are gonna keep making money. Some millionaires here and there are gonna transfer over, but we, the uber rich, is literally working their ass off to make sure that we fight each other over the crumbs and they have the rest of the whole cake. Like I really have been trying to explain this on so many levels that it has nothing to do with right and left and everything to do with classist war. Ask someone that grew up very wealthy, rich, and ask how we view the rest of the world. I wasn't a billionaire. My family is rich, but I knew people that were rich enough to fly, you know, from Saudi Arabia to France to eat a piece of crepe and come back. That wealthy, rich type thing. That's the type of people we knew. So like I didn't have to be that wealthy to see the shit that they did. Are you rich enough to ride a plane to go to France and buy a crepe and come back real quick? Or have a cake, a French cake or croissant? Just to go have a croissant, come back. And a private jet, not a regular plane. Thought so. So when we look at this, we see people with private planes skipping the TSA line, not getting their bags checked, not having any planes missing, right? They go from one place to another, no problem. So you look at this shit and you're like, oh wow, the war is on. So vote for Bernie Sanders. Now, meanwhile, Trump is playing the national emergency card for the marital law and no midterm election. Yeah, listen. His Royal Excellency and His Majesty Donald Trump may we may not have another election. You know, we may or may not have another election. It's up to His Majesty at this point because he says he's not going to run for another office, which makes me feel that maybe there is no election for another office. It's like I told you, I ain't running for another office. I'm just making sure that there's no other election. Both could be true. Both can be true at the same time. No, I ain't running for because he kept saying, "Oh, I should maybe run for a third term. I should maybe run for a third term." One time in the last 2 weeks, he goes, "Oh yeah, maybe I am running for a third term." Once I heard that, I'm like, "That's it. No more elections. That's it. Nobody's voting. They have changed the gerrymandering in so many states to the point where the Supreme Court is agreeing with gerrymandering. Lord Jesus, Buddha, Trump, Trump, Lord Trump, forgive us. Give us election again. We will vote for you. We I promise. Your Majesty Trump, forgive us. We are your subjects. Just show us some mercy. Tomorrow, if he becomes your Majesty, we'll call him Daddy Trump, like we call our king Baba. We call our king Salman Baba Salman. We before him King Abdullah, we call him Baba Abdullah, like Daddy Trump. So tomorrow, once he becomes your Majesty, just know that yesterday was the head of the NATO calling Trump Daddy. Tomorrow might be you. The Someone's asking about the Ebola outbreak. My biggest worry is that not we have the Ebola outbreak, and then there's that other big yacht outbreak that was happening a week ago. That's no longer active. But the problem is that your CDC has been dismantled. That's your biggest problem. If you had the CDC that has all their staff and experts on the roster and they're all showing up to work, I'd say maybe you have a better option. But the fact of the matter is, no, CDC is still active. No, the hantavirus is still active. It's just not active in that boat. The people that came out, they're supposedly like been isolated. But what I meant is that it's not actively spreading as I know it. What I'm saying is that the problem is if it's actively spreading, whether it is the hantavirus or if it's the Ebola, if it's your problem is bigger than that because any virus that spread, your CDC is dismantled. President Obama created a program that specifically was designed to deal with virus outbreaks. And because Obama designed it, because his administration designed it, the Trump administration dismantled it. And I was like, what are you, an idiot? Not everything you dismantle because Obama administration made it. It's not a brand name. It's a presidency. I don't like that brand. The Obama brand doesn't fit me. It's not a brand. These are rules and regulations designed to protect us Americans, to put us first. You should be worried about your CDC, and we should be demanding our CDC employees going back to getting rehired. And these experts that have been in the government for a really long time get recompensated for the damages that they have suffered from being fired and displaced and so forth, so on. We need these fuckers. We depend on them. Well, how could you elaborate on the question? Remind me what the question is, Teresa. Thank you. My question about those global master transport. Most likely, so like the C-17, yes, I'm familiar. The Global Master C-17 planes are designed to move heavy military equipment, and that means it's like tanks, other uh, stuff like that. Anything that you might think is big and heavy. I don't have a list of the stuff that was moved because it's probably sealed that and few people know what it is at the moment. But once I find out what they have moved, I will definitely be reporting on it. But what I know for sure is that there is a lot of Air Force movement at the moment, which signals to me that there is actively preparing for another imminent strike on the Iranian territories. Good morning. Thank you for saying good morning, Ali. Do you anticipate that there will be scheduled brown outs and blackouts this summer around the US due to the I definitely think so. You're asking about blackouts regarding energy facilities. Let me tell you things that you don't want to hear about your current energy infrastructure in the United States. All of your infrastructure in the United States, whether it's energy, water, hospital, police, is all in danger. Why is it in danger, Waji? Because you have not built a secure infrastructure system or have not updated your infrastructure system technology to um, be prevented from any cyber attacks. Number one, cyber attacks. Number one. All of the cyber, like this is something you don't hear. This is something you don't see. And if it happens, it will happen without you knowing. You just walk in one day and all of a sudden the generator stopped working or an explosion happens somewhere else because they stopped this from happening and stopped that from happening. Your infrastructure has not been updated. And then after that, you have homegrown terrorism and you have, and before the homegrown terrorism, you have natural disasters. So if you have any natural disasters that take out any of those plants, like fire, really heavy snow, or like tornado, natural disaster. And then you have homegrown terrorism. Those are your biggest three threats to your current infrastructure and why you might have easy or why be really easy to get blackouts in the United States. That's why everyone is like advised to start investing in uh, their own energy by having solar panels, for example. There are other ways to have energy, but as soon as you get independent, as soon as you can secure your safety, I think that we should be very careful about what we can expect from the Iranians, and we should also not underestimate the Iranian capabilities. Generator, someone is saying generator, yeah. Having your own generator, batteries. Someone says, question Wajeeh, why when a country invades another land, they target the books, the knowledge centers? Because culture and identity is the core of a society. And if you want to destroy society, you destroy its source of knowledge, you destroy its source of culture, you destroy its source of growth. And if you want to push your own ideology onto them, then you start with these, libraries, you start with TV, you start with uh, theater, you start with all of those things. You take them down and you put your own. That's what propaganda is for, right? Ah, other questions, other questions. Someone was asking the other day how the word Habibi can be used. Habibi is a word that you can use almost anywhere. What it means is means darling or loved ones or honey, and it can be used like, "Oh Habibi, I love you so much. Come over here." Or it can be like used in a sassy way. "Okay, Habibi, move on, move on. Let's go." Like you don't even know this person, right? Or you go, Habibi, can I have two sandwiches real quick? Yeah, you can use it depending on the situation, depending on the mood. It can Habibi can be used in almost anywhere. You want to show that you love them even more, and they're part of your family. You call them Hmar, donkey. That's how you show that they're really part of the family. You say, "Ya Hmar, ya donkey," or "Ya hayawan, you animal." That's how you prove that they are a family member right away. Even loved, your husband. "Ya hayawan," he's a part of the family. You donkey, you animal. You know he's a part of the family. I have to come closer to read your question. Do you feel there is a war within the ideology with Islam going on too? Yeah, of course. There is a big conflict between the Muslims. Humar, Humar, Hummar, Humar, or Haywan. Humar means donkey, Haywan means animal. Mashallah, you gave me a whole story to read, Mr. Ernie. I will take a look at it. Trying to read. Will the Middle East ever unite? The Middle East will unite once people leave it alone. It needs to be left alone. It needs to have stability. It needs to have investment. We need to uh, figure out how they can benefit each other rather than fighting each other, which is a big problem. Will the United States ever be united? If you guys fight against the billionaires, yes. If you guys unite against the rich, yes. If you guys unite against, you know, big money, yes. You can unite against big money. That's something you can unite against. How much of the current wars and the wars and conflict in the Middle East is coming from the Western world? I would say 80 to 90%. The rest is 20%. And if the United States leave, could be on the Middle East 40 to 50%, uh, and could go down again, in my own opinion. It is possible to have peace in the Middle East, but Western intervention need to come to an end. Also, I think, Western intervention has 80% or 70% effect on world displacement of people. It doesn't have to be the US alone, but Western intervention, whether it's wars, conflict, supporting one faction against the other, people will also end up having to run away and apply for asylum and get citizenship somewhere else. And that's how you get many people to come to the West. And yesterday I talked about it, where, you know, people go to wars from the Western countries to the Middle East, and they tell about the Middle Eastern people about how great the United States is. And then the Americans are surprised that Middle Easterners are coming to the United States and wanting to become US citizens. And when you ask them, they're like, well, you told us it's great. And you destroyed what greatness we ever had. So I'm trying to see whatever greatness you have. Do you think we are all backed out of the regional Middle East political and would Israel survive if it played with its partners? The problem with Israel, it doesn't want to play along. It wants to be like, I'm not talking about the Israeli people, I'm talking about the Israeli government. There's good Israelis out there. I'm not gonna say that, but the Israeli government is not trying to play ball with anyone around it at the moment, especially Netanyahu and the far right. I re-asked your question and your credit in the chat. Okay, I'm in the chat. How can people create mutual aid network like in Minnesota? You start by your friends and family, and then you start by creating that as a club for you guys to barter, for you guys to, um, yeah, barter, trade, borrow, help each other, volunteer. And it starts with the family and friends, and then it grows after that to the neighborhood, and then it grows to the city. Collectives, you can start by a neighborhood farm where growing the basic essential goods. Make sure that these neighborhood farms are in what we call desert neighborhoods, where it takes you more than 15 minutes to walk to a grocery store that would have fruits and vegetables and protein. If you if it takes you more than 15 minutes to walk to a grocery store that has these goods, then you live in a what we call a desert neighborhood. So we need, to build these. When you build them, you want to build them around these type of communities that need it most because they will utilize it right away. Food desert, yes. Neighborhood desert, food deserts. Do you think the US could get stuck by foreign missiles? Struck by foreign missiles? I'm afraid of this. The United States has been very lucky that it only had very, 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 very few foreign attacks on its soil. And that doesn't mean that luck can last forever. But the nice thing is that the United States is kind of far away from the Middle East. Uh, it's a little bit far away from South America. It's a little bit, it- I mean, it's not that far away from Russia. It's not that far away from China. They could easily hit us, but we're not in a direct conflict with Russia or China at the moment. Iran doesn't have any missile capabilities that could reach the United States. So, but China has capabilities of reaching a lot of strategic U.S. military bases. They still haven't had the capability of having a missile to reach U.S. shores, and most of the military apparatus in Russia has been kind of destroyed, according to Malcolm. So when I'm thinking about this, I think it's kind of very unlikely. And the U.S. intelligence system, especially using the satellite system, they keep a very close eye to missiles that are showing up in the radar apparatus that could hit the United States, making it a little bit unlikely. But never say never. And I think, but that's, the benefit that the United States is kind of isolated from the rest of the world makes it a little harder to reach. The evangelicals in the United States has this belief that if they support Israel and Israel becomes this great country, they are speeding up the process for the day of judgment. And I'm sitting here, sitting like, why are you in a rush for the day of judgment? Why are you in a rush for the day of judgment? And it's important that we recognize that for a very long time, these evangelicals been wanting to create this type of relationship with Israel, and they have been, like spreading that belief around. When did Iran attack Kuwait? I don't see any news saying Iran attacked Kuwait today. Iran attacked UAE, United Arab Emirates, but I don't see anything about Iran attacking Kuwait today. Especially that Kuwait has been softening its rhetoric toward Iran and has been saying that we're friends, don't attack us, we're not allowing the Americans to use our. Yeah, I haven't seen the news on Iran attacking Kuwait today. I even just looked it up. Yeah, there's no news. You're maybe thinking about the United Arab Emirates. And if you're thinking about the United Arab Emirates, it's because the UAE is the most hawkish of the bunch. And the United Arab Emirates has its own nuclear. civilian facilities. And if the Iranian hit that, uh, and what they hit in particular is the diesel generators, backup generators. What Iran is basically trying to say is that we can get you. We can hit you at we can hit you at your most vulnerable spots, and you won't be able to do shit about it. In fact, what we can do is we can cause you a, a nuclear meltdown, and if we did so, we would love to see you try to do something about it. That's the message that the Iranians were sending today. Questions, questions, questions. Yeah, I think we got 300 people today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching a Substack recording on YouTube. While you're there, like, subscribe, comment. Let's have a conversation about your what you think about what I've been saying. Uh, Click that bell icon that you see on YouTube. It gives you the latest notifications so you know when we are posting the latest updates for you. If a nuclear meltdown happened, Trump may respond in kind. I think the Iranian message is to show that they are able to respond in kind to Trump. I don't think that they will send the first message to cause the nuclear meltdown as much as they are showing capabilities of we are able to hit your nuclear facilities and cause a nuclear meltdown if Trump decides to start hitting our facilities. It goes that way. That's how it goes. If that makes any sense. Um, a lot of people think that if they are the strongest, that means that they won't get attacked. What we learned from mutual assured destruction is that this mutual assured destruction is sadly is what has prevented other countries from attacking each other. Let me elaborate. Before I go into the Cold War, if you notice, US presidents do not put the same pressure that we are currently putting on Iran with countries that already own a nuclear weapon and have shown capabilities of being able to fire it and ignite it. And that alone has made us not attack North Korea. That alone has made us not invade Russia. That alone has made us not invade China. Is that correct? Yes, that's all correct. Additionally, it was the arm race between Russia and the United States during the Cold War, in addition to nuclear weapon, and they were not able to have clear communication that we were so close to a nuclear attack. When the United States saw that the mutual assured destruction equation was going to be broken by the Russians putting a nuclear missile right in Cuba. When you put a nuclear missile in Cuba, you have cut down the time that was required and you have destroyed the whole point of mutual assured destruction, making Russia way more able to hit the United States before the United States able to hit Russia. All of a sudden, the whole thing stopped. And back talk negotiations had to confirm that we will allow the United States to send spies to Russia and Russian allied country and spy on their countries and make sure that they have taken away their nuclear missiles and put them at where we have agreed to put them. So we can assure that we both have mutual assured destruction at an equal level. So we don't attack each other. As long as the United States is way stronger than Iran, Iran is going to continue fighting the United States. If we're in war, if we're in war and the United States has an imminent threat on Iran, Iran is going to keep fighting. They're going to keep working until they make a nuclear bomb because they believe if they make a nuclear bomb, then the United States is going to have to think more than twice. So if anyone has expedited the process of the Iranian regime trying to reach a nuclear bomb, it's now. If any president has convinced Iran that they need a nuclear weapon more than ever, it's now. Iranians now want a nuclear weapon more than ever. And I'm talking about the Iranian government. Are there people in Iran, especially young voices, who hate the Islamic Revolution? Yes. There's plenty of Iranians who are young and want democracy and tired of the executions and tired of the Islamic Revolution. That is absolutely correct. That is real. But we're talking about the government. We're not talking about the people. The government now is busting its ass to get a nuclear weapon. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they don't understand they don't understand this global war type stuff. The Iranian government is not going to admit right away that we're working on a nuclear weapon because they're already getting hit here and there. They're already getting destroyed here and there. And the United States doesn't know all of the nuclear facilities that Iran has under the mountains. So whatever facility is in hiding is currently working. At least that's what I'm seeing. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So what the United States has done now, because mutual assured destruction is not only related to the United States, is also related to NATO. As the United States is pulling away, NATO is making more nuclear weapons, or specifically France. France announced they're making another 1,000 nuclear bombs, and they're going to be spreading it across the EU. Might as well watch Fallout at this point. Might as well watch Fallout. So it says France is deep into the nuclear. Yes, they are. And while the United States is losing its strategic power, are the U.S. soldiers departing the Gulf states? Some U.S. Soldiers are yes, they're getting evicted. I think we'll see. We'll see. I want to do a little bit more research, but from my understanding, there has been a kick out, and my interview with Dr. Rehab showed the evictions of U.S. bases from the Middle East. I just don't know if this is a permanent thing or if it's a uh, for now, you know? And only time will tell how seriously damaged the Gulf state relationship with the US. Thank you, Sharon, for sharing that link. Hawk says a drone hit a generator at a nuclear plant. Is that true? Yes, I was just talking about it earlier. And I said that that drone hitting that nuclear, the hitting a diesel backup generator for the nuclear plant was a message for the United Arab Emirates to understand that they are capable of destroying even more important parts of that plant, and that if the United States decides to hit Iran or the United Arab Emirates decide to do more attacks on Iran, that the EU is going to be suffering, tremendously. This is a very precise message from the Iranians. Even the Pentagon doesn't know. Someone is saying the Pentagon doesn't even know whether these bases are permanently lost or just temporary closed. And that's part of the two-faced messaging that the Gulf states have. They're not going to give you a direct answer because they know that their word is like the sword. So they're like, for now, you're not here. Until we make a final decision for your safety and for our safety, please step aside. Now, the U.S. is on some bases in Saudi Arabia for the Saudi protection, but I need to go back and look again on how much activities the U.S. is currently having on GCC soil. How do you think AI plays into our situation in the Middle East regarding bombing? We talked about that yesterday. Palantir and how Palantir and other AI companies were the reason that we were able to hit more than, several hundred targets in 30 minutes to an hour in the first few hours and so on and throughout this war. The AI has already been assisting in this war and has already been making decisions on behalf of the humans to attack civilians and was responsible for killing many civilians. And yet we have not been able to do anything about it. And Pete Hegseth was upset about one of the AI companies that did not want its software to be used carelessly to be put on the enemies list of the United States. So our government is definitely interested in mass policing and very interested in mass intelligence gathering, whether it's your social media or your personal messages. All of it is being collected and put into big database. Palantir goes through it and scans everything, including the governmental datas, including all the security apparatuses, and then pulls out people either to get deported by ICE or executed in the Middle East by a kinetic strike. And the CEO of Palantir is very proudly saying that on occasion our system kills people. And I thought that was a very, bold statement coming from someone that is disconnected from reality. Everything is someone saying if Iran would cause a nuclear meltdown, the power plant, how much would it be affected by the fallout? And which direction is the wind usually blowing? The wind will be blowing toward the rest of the UAE and toward the ocean. Maybe goes up every once in a while toward Qatar, sometimes a little bit toward Saudi Arabia, but mostly blows toward the rest of the UAE, which will get the rest of the UAE pollution. That's the biggest, most of the UAE people will get some sort of nuclear pollution. Some many in the ocean, the pristine waters will definitely be destroyed. Um, but yeah, we're already facing the side effects. Did the AI choose the Iranian school? Yes, the AI chose the Iranian school. Someone's asking the school that the United States has attacked and killed about 81 children, right? Was that a decision made by AI? Yes, it was a decision made by AI and approved by a human being because they did not do all of the background check that they needed to do or any additional human intelligence that would, finalize that, chose to just approve it. Yes, producing kill chain. That's right. Maven. And they share it with the Israeli government, so the Israelis also have it. And I think it was used in Gaza, but it goes all the way back to the assassination of Osama bin Laden. Uh, Palantir's, software was used by CIA to finalize, a lot of the information that helped us point out to Osama bin Laden. So it goes all the way back to Obama as president. A lot of people didn't know about that software back then. It was over 160 children. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. The missile that hit the school. And, a lot of people don't know that their own cities have manufacturing of, military supplies to the US government. Like Minnesota, in the Twin Cities, we have Honeywell. And Honeywell is a company that makes a lot of different products. And some of the products they make are US bombs, precision bombs that fall on many people in Gaza. And I'm not sure if we also make the bombs that are going on the Iranian people here and the Twin Cities. But yeah, those facilities exist in our own facilities. Meanwhile, organizations like Food Not Bombs were listed as a terrorist organization back in the day, or some extremist organizations back in the day. Crazy. US citizens are hungry. Our infrastructure is falling apart. Our education is no longer competitive. We're no longer in the top 10 most capitalistic economy. We're not also, we don't have all of the democratic, liberal tools that we are supposed to have. Our democracy is in decline. And we have a president that wants to that says America first, but keeps putting him first. So and we're borrowing money to fight a war that we cannot afford. And people are not borrowing, and our borrowing power is weak as the weakest it has ever been. So people are not even lending us money to fight the war that we want to fight. Um, Americans are paycheck to paycheck, and if they miss a check, then they're screwed. Moms, dads, kids, brothers and sisters are waiting for their, you know, family to come back from this war, from being deployed. Bush, the aircraft carrier, finally stopped at a U.S. port, almost completing a whole year at sea, the longest a ship ever been deployed since the Vietnam War. It's crazy. It's crazy. We have not prepared to fight this war. Our kids, our mothers and fathers don't know why their kids are fighting this war. And it's your money. It's your future. Like genuinely, we say this to kids when they do something bad, but I'm saying this to a whole nation. It's your future. It's your money. It's your taxes. It's your government. So it's your responsibility. It is your responsibility. The people that I am more disappointed than Trump is the US Congress. Excuse my language. Pussies in the US Congress that don't do shit, that don't exercise their power, that just get a title, get called honorable, and does not show us any action. Democrats, Republicans, or independent. Voting and approving every single person that Trump appoints. What the fuck are you doing? Approving people who are clearly saying that they are willing to break the Constitution. Not doing anything about people who are breaking the Constitution or removing them from power. Impeach them. It's your goddamn job. They're not impeaching. My cat that is afraid of every bag that I pull out from the grocery has more balls than the people working in the US Congress. Everyone is insider trading. Everyone is looking how to move their money up and down. And we are just looking, oh my God, look at the economy. Oh my God, my kid was sent to war. Oh my God, I can't talk to my son. No Republican or Democrat representative should be feeling safe in their office at the moment, as long as this war is happening, whether it's state or federal. None of them should be harmed. I'm a peaceful person. I'm talking about voting. None of them should stay in office as long as they're quiet, as long as they're not taking action. The other day, I was trying to give you a tip, and I was saying that look at the roster of their absences. Look at how many representatives, senator, federal, state, city, how many of them are even attending their job and voting for things they're supposed to be voting on. So little. Yeah, who's paying the price? You are. Every time we have some sort of hearing, we have a shit show happen. We get asked, we hear questions, we hear testimonies, we hear some of the craziest shit, and then nothing happens. Another hearing happens here. It gets sent to another committee. They get more people to testify, and then nothing happens. It's just a report that gets published, and then the news goes and writes about it. God damn it! What are you doing? We're tired of breadcrumbs. Someone's saying breadcrumbs. We are tired of having the being the loser. The middle class in America is tired. The middle class of America is what built America, not the billionaires that built America. The middle class, the working class is what made Ford become Ford. The middle class, the working class is what made GMC, not the owner of Ford, not the owner of Tesla, not the owner of Apple. The people working inside Apple is what made Apple happen. We keep forgetting this. We keep forgetting this over and over and over again. All of the shareholders have someone representing the best interest of increasing the shareholder value. Meanwhile, the people that are working inside the company, no one is representing them. No one is representing Apple workers, including it. Listen, even if you are an accountant, even if you are a financier, even if you are someone working under a manager, you're considered the working class now. I don't consider you a white collar. I don't care. Everyone needs some sort of union representation. Why is union representation so important? So your best interest is represented every single time, and you have legal representation that demands that you have better income, that you, when you are pregnant and you have a child, or when your wife is pregnant and you have a new child, you can take a break from work. When you are sick, you don't only have 2 weeks break, you have the break as long as you are ready, until you are ready to come back to work. When your leg is broke, so much shit. A workers' companies updated in this country. We're falling behind on every single list of the measurement on the global standards, and no one is talking about it. No one's doing anything about it. Someone, Sherry, I want to tell you something. Sherry was saying many Americans, millions of Americans don't see it. And then maybe, too close and maybe they're too proud. No, 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 Habibi, let me tell you something. The reality is as long as the billionaires are playing their game and giving us only crumbs, the studies have shown as we get hungrier, as we get more economic inequality, people start fighting each other and become more polarized because they don't have time to open their mind as much as they have time to, like focus only on what they were raised on or what they already believe in. So if they're on the right, they're going to blame the left. If they're on the left, they're going to blame the right. And what ends up happening is we forget during that blame game that we have, we forget that the ones that are watching us and eating popcorn is the billionaire. The one eating popcorn, and even not popcorn, caviar, eating caviar, having, all the expensive stuff, $2,000 wine bottle, they're sipping on it, and we're fighting each other, right and left. The reason we are so focused on our ideology and having ideology war is because of income inequality. It is exactly because of that. You have people on the right, on the left, blaming Republicans, and you have Republicans blaming Democrats. And I'm not talking about people in office, I'm talking about registered voters. And who is benefiting? The people that they're voting for. They play on that. They push more on it. Instead of saying, hold on, guys, let me tell you something I know that you guys may not know. Let's unite the country for the first time ever and show the world that it is the billionaires who are benefiting. You know how they're benefiting? Trump has almost pardoned every billionaire that has reached out to him and asked him to take out the crimes that we the federal crimes that we have on them. The latest one was an Indian billionaire yesterday. What's going on? Why are we allowing? And the biggest mistake is what we put a billionaire in the White House that has appointed everyone around him. Either he's a billionaire or someone sucking his dick. Everyone around him is either a billionaire or sucking his dick. Someone is messaging here saying, check the voting score of elected officials and candidates to find the rate of absenting. Meaning, if you want to find out how often your representative is absent, look at their voting rate. If anything over 25% is missing, that is unacceptable. You're absolutely correct. Wajeeh, do you think we will defend Taiwan? We currently don't have the capabilities of defending Taiwan. We don't have the money. We don't have the weapons. We wasted the precise weapons that we were saving, in particularly of defending Taiwan. We used it to defend our ships and Israel and against Iran. Even if we wanted to defend Taiwan, we cannot. We would be struggling. So you see Trump softening his tone with China. China, Habibi, please, we love you. Can you help us with Iran a little bit? Can you tell Iran not to hit us? Can you tell Iran to open the Strait of Hormuz? And she's like, yeah, sure, sure, yeah, I will tell them. Yeah, I will tell them, sure, sure. And he talks to the Iranians, how much more ballistic missile fuel do you need, huh? You need more? Okay, we'll send you more. We have a Trump that thinks he made the deal of the century. And there is no deal written, there's no deal signed, but he made the deal of the century. Do you think China will wait until we are weaker to attack? I can tell you, regardless of whether they're waiting for us to get weaker or not, they're preparing to attack. They're studying and measuring and evaluating and posturing themselves in a way where they could be ready to attack anytime, attack Taiwan. If they attack Taiwan, they will have access to our most secure, high security chips that we use for the CIA, that we use for our most secure planes, that we use for our more secure, precise weapons. We need them chips, and they're classified. And if China has access to it, then the military has access to it. That's why we protect those chips so hard, right? That might go away. What happens if Taiwan falls into mainland China? China becomes much more powerful. Their military weapons becomes way more precise, and their AI system becomes even better than the American AI. And currently, the war is over AI intelligence for some reason between these countries. I'm not gonna consider myself an AI expert here, but that's the reality. 20 more minutes to reach the second hour of this podcast. Do you guys have any other questions I could answer? While you're here, please like, subscribe, and share. Support my channel. It helps us go a very long way. Subscription is free, but if you want to become a paid subscriber, that helps us pay the bill and helps me do this every day, all day, so you don't have to. My paid subscription is very simple. It's $5 a month or $35 a year. And then there's the $300 VIP for the people that want to support me even more. That is much appreciated. Please consider becoming one. Trump already gave them the chips. He allowed the but thanks. Oh, mashallah. Thank you, Roger. Look at that. We already gave them the chips. Then China would have the chips and the United States wouldn't have the chips. Even worse. That's even worse. If China already has the chips and then we lose Taiwan, then we lose one of the main countries that are providing us that chips and China would have it. يا خرابي. Do you love US as much as do you love us as much as we love you? I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for your support. Yes, I wouldn't be here without you. I wouldn't be doing this content without knowing that there are people out there that want to learn. I tried to do this on Twitter for a while, but it was very unsuccessful, especially after it was successful for a period of time until Elon Musk bought the company. And then it became really hard to do this type of education, and it was really hard to do this type of advocacy. And then Malcolm introduced me to Substack, and I was introduced to you guys, and that helped me a lot in terms of spreading the message. So no, if you guys weren't interested in learning, I wouldn't be doing this, and if you weren't be supporting me, I wouldn't be doing this. Um, if you cannot afford becoming a premium member, send me a DM with the email associated with your account. You do not need to explain your situation. You do not need to tell me whether you were laid off or none, or whether you're on fixed income or on your social. I will not. I don't ask any of these questions. All I need to know is the email associated with your account, so it can add you to the roster list of paid members, and um, and then we can add you. Or some people you can reach out, for example, to Jandro. He is giving away subs for my account. You could reach out to him, and he would donate a membership to you as well. That also happens. We have a community that want to support one another, and that's what's amazing about the community that we have built here on Substack. Everyone here is learning, and anyone that was out of line or created a situation where the chat community became uncomfortable or became uh, inactive, we were able to remove these individuals. We have a community that wants to learn and improve, and that's the energy that we're keeping. I think we don't understand what we are getting into when we are talking about AI. That's all I have to say. It is basically already embedded in everything. So you basically cannot do anything about it other than demand regulations to limit the access that it has and limit the use that it has. Like, we should be able to use it to do simple tasks, but we shouldn't be using it to kill people. We shouldn't be using it to surveil, like to do mass surveillance. There should be regulations. It should be treated like a tool, and we should have laws and regulations to understand the extents of the abilities of what it does, so we can update these laws and regulations. We have been saying that our laws and regulations have been behind technology since 2000, the year 2000, and we've been saying our laws and regulations are behind technology. And we are now seriously in danger of being behind our laws and regulations being behind technology. And we need to set an example for that type of technology. And you know what? It is easier for you to make rules and regulations for the city and the state level, and that starts, spreading state by state. If you can't do it federally, then you should try to do it by state. If you can't do it by state, then you should try to do it by city. A lot of times these companies find themselves forced to because of the laws and regulations. So yeah, and you will find them lobbying really hard against you for doing that. That's when once you start doing that, you'll see tech companies going against you real hard. That's how we know that you are already on the right path. You have hit them where it hurts. We're not trying to hurt them. We're just trying to protect ourselves. But they don't care about our protection. They only care about their profit to the point where they will lobby against our basic needs and protections so they could make more money of our information. You are a source of information, and as much as you are a source of information, you are a source of income for those tech companies because they use your information and sell it. That's why this is not an advertisement, but I pay companies to constantly look where my information is at and legally demand that they take it down, whether it's incognito, whether it's something else. I pay more than one service. I'm tired of people calling me. I'm tired of spam calls. I'm tired of my information being spread everywhere. You're forced to pay other companies to do that, and it's still not enough. Then what do we need to do? We need to make laws to change that from happening. There are some states where you can collect enough signatures to put a bill on the ballot. Maybe it's something that you should consider starting a campaign for. The cameras, the Ring camera. I have a Google camera. I stopped using it. All of those, smart cameras that we have are now collecting the data and sending it to a company, an AI company that's made doing mass surveillance. There are some smart, independent server cameras that do not share that information outside. But you will need to buy your own server. You will need to have these cameras either hardwired or something. It's a lot more work. But at this point, you need to know what you're buying. If you're buying a smart camera that does not have a receiver and the same house where the information gets collected and stored, then that information is going somewhere else that you don't own. And as long as it's going somewhere else that you don't own, then that information is not yours. So if you're walking naked around the house and the video is taken, someone else is watching that. Just inform my just information. How are rare earth minerals supply going to affect the nuclear situation in the Middle East? I don't think it's connected to nuclear as much. The nuclear weapon of Iran. Iran already has access to uranium, so I'm kind of confused about the question. The Middle East is full of natural minerals and natural resources. The same cameras that you put outside is used by ICE to look up innocent people, whether they're, including U.S. citizens that have been gathered and sent away. Unfortunately, even if you put it outside, you need to use a camera that does not use the cloud. Oh, cameras. Okay, can I explain what they are? So the camera that you buy either comes wired or comes wireless. The wired and wireless, if they are a smart camera like Ring doorbell or Google camera or any, by the way, Amazon owns like 4 or 5 different doorbell cameras, like different brands, including their own brand. And they all take that information and put it in the data center for Amazon. Same thing with the Google camera system. They take all of your data and they put it in their cloud system. That cloud system is run by an AI software that includes the government data in it. And the government data that they includes immigration, includes crimes, includes your private text messages, include everything, everything. And they put it all in one place, and then the AI starts sorting all of that information, and they try to find commonality. So by then, all of your privacy is gone because the software can knows exactly when you go where, how you go, what you're spending, what you're eating, whether you're cheating on your wife or your girlfriend, whether it knows everything about you. So when you add the camera system to it, you just added the rest of your privacy information. There are cameras out there that for security that allows you to have a receiver. This receiver is your memory slash brain. If you have a receiver at home that does not share that information with an outside data center like Amazon or Google, then your information is only shared with you in that receiver, and no one has access to it unless you give them access to it. That's how like stupid and dangerous everything is. That's why everyone was got freaked out by the Amazon advertisement to during the Super Bowl that we can help you find your dog. And every day we help find a missing dog, blah, 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 using the cameras. What they didn't tell you is that they're gathering up people like me, you and green card holders and you U.S. citizens thinking that they are illegal immigrants and putting them away because the AI is not that well informed, because the AI is not that well educated, because the AI makes mistakes. We are the victims. Thank you for coming, Mama K. You have a good one. He's got to go too. Everyone's got to go. Yeah, it's been 2 hours. I should have to go too. Your phones too, unfortunately. Yes, I'm addicted to Google products, unfortunately, and I'm trying to find my way away from Google products. Um, but all of the Android phones use Android, and Android is the software made by Google. You all have a good one. Thanks for coming in. I don't see any new questions. I'll take a look one more time. Do you know all the cars have a kill switch? No, I did not know that. Now, new cars apparently from 2027 have a kill switch. I need to look into that. I have no idea. Um, um, I'm not that familiar with iPhones, unfortunately. I still need to do my work, but apparently iPhone is supposed to be like they share less of your data with other people. Apparently, someone is saying you can disable your kill switch in the car. Speaking of cameras, my help company is putting cameras inside and outside of the company cars so they can watch your eye movement. Yeah, all of the Teslas now with the with autonomous driving has cameras that track your eyes, not only the companies, because companies are doing that for insurance purposes, so they can have lower insurance, and they're doing that so they can, know who to blame, and also know if we were like, and that's I think that's also it breaks a lot of, I would say, personal space, privacy. There basically is no privacy. But also, all of these companies use, I mean, Tesla is using in all of their cars cameras to track your eye movement and whether you're watching the road or not. Anyways, I only have 1% left on my phone. I just noticed that. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming in. We'll see you again soon. Like, subscribe, and share. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching a recording. We're almost at 400 people today. That means a lot to me. If you're watching this on YouTube, then make sure to click subscribe and click the bell button so you can get the latest notification. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much. مع السلامة باي باي وبالإنجليزي goodbye.